Welcome into the ASUG News Studio. My name is Tom Whalegum. I am co-editorial director of ASUG News. Joined today by Courtney Bjorlin, the other co-editorial director. Courtney, welcome back from your maternity leave. It's great to have you back.
Hi, Tom. It's great to be back.
And we are delighted to have Sanjay Poonen in the studio, our first guest coming off his big keynote. And great to have you back again. You were with us last year and had everything. Great.
Yeah. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So let's talk a little bit about your keynote. You had some great slides, as we were just talking about. What would be the overall message if you had to give it a 2 to 3 minute message to the people who perhaps not watching, ASUG members who are watching this? What would you tell them that you most wanted to get across?
I think what we talked about was that innovation is the fabric of what drives growth today. You look at great companies like Apple and the way in which they have pioneered a consumer revolution. And we aspire very much to drive that same type of innovation in the enterprise. And if you divide the SAP business into two parts, you've got systems of record that we're very well known for, ERP, financials, HR, and systems of engagement, analytics and mobility, where we've been pioneering a lot of innovation in the last 2 to 5 years. And analytics is a key part, a lot of what's going on there, whether it's business intelligence, this business objects user community cares about that, or the infrastructure underneath BI, data warehousing, and where Hana plays a very key part to what we're doing.
So speaking of systems of record, one of the things I always appreciate about your keynotes is that you really try to engage the audience. And this year, as you did last year, you asked the audience, how many of you are running non-SAP backends? And 60 to 70% of the hands in the crowd went up. Now, 5 years out from this business objects acquisition, did you expect that more of that crowd would be on an SAP backend at this point? And is that still the strategy going forward?
Yeah, it's interesting. Last year's keynote, I asked how many were non-SAP customers, 60 to 70% raised their hands. This year, I also asked how many of you have been customers, and it was amazing, you were in the audience, the number who said they'd been customers faithfully with us for 15 plus years. When we acquired Business Objects in 2007, they had about 30,000 customers. Today we have about 50,000 customers in analytics. The bulk of them continue to be in a very heterogeneous environment. We will certainly be optimized for SAP better than any other third-party BI tool because we know about the system of record, but we're never tethered to it. In fact, we celebrate a lot of places where our customers use us on top of Oracle ERP, PeopleSoft, Siebel, Salesforce.com. And we seek to be the leading analytics player, whatever the back-end system is. And by the way, the same applies to mobility. Optimized for, but not tethered to the back-end system of record where it's SAP. And that's really what these customers here want us to do.
I really like that, optimized to, but not tethered to. That's a nice phrase. Specifically kind of looking at 4.0 adoption. At your level, at the executive board level, are you satisfied, Bill and Jim satisfied with the amount of people who have moved from 3.x to 4 as of now,
I think if you look at the history of business objects, I wasn't a business objects person, but I was involved in the acquisition and driving it since then. I think when we went from version 2 to version 3, there was a slower uptake. Version 3 to version 4, we're watching very closely. And as I mentioned this morning, we didn't get everything perfect in the initial release of 4.0. Many of these customers gave us feedback, but the beautiful thing about what we sought to do as a company is listen to our customers. There's no better place to do it than audiences like this. And we innovated further. Feature Pack 3, as it's come out, it's got a lot of the things that they've asked us to address. And we're very pleased with the way in which directionally this is headed. Where we had escalations, we addressed them. Where customers were looking for some additional features, we've added that. And we've also added some new products, like visual intelligence, predictive analytics to the family, so that you want to do it in a relatively non-disruptive fashion. We call it innovation without disruption. And it's key because many of these customers have projects that are large ones on top of tens of thousands of users. We got to do it in a way, addressing issues, working on innovation, and continue to do what people expect of us as being the leader in the analytics industry.
So Feature Pack 3 is what was originally going to be Business Objects 4.1 release, correct?
Yes.
And there has been a little bit of confusion over the terminology here between Feature Pack 3, Service Pack 4, Feature Pack 4. Can you clarify this for us?
Yeah, in general, and what we're trying to do now is so that there's clarity. I mentioned on the keynote a website where we have details on the roadmap. So if people have questions on the roadmap, just go there. And we're also doing a ton here to help our customers understand. Roadmap's very important. Support Pack usually is for things which are much more bug fixes oriented. and feature packs are one where we actually add features. And where we do things in a very major fashion where we may collect a number of feature packs and announce a major release, for example, 5.0. And we try to, in our, much like our ERP release where we had enhancement packs, we've had a similar place for how we wanted to innovate here with feature packs. So we'll continue to be support packs where you need bug fixes, but that's really the roughly. Support packs are for bug fixes, feature packs for feature enhancements.
One other interesting news, you broke some news this morning about EPM on demand. You want to talk a little bit about that because that seems to be a pretty exciting topic.
I think what I was trying to really get across, I've been in this industry now 15 to 17 years watching analytics and almost its early days from when the term was coined. The holy grail has always been if you could do reporting, planning, predictive capabilities without having to buy a lot of piece parts from various different vendors, worry about integrating them. And one key part in the middle of that is planning. So we'd always believed that you could get significantly faster performance with planning on HANA. But now imagine being able to also do that in the cloud. Right. So we announced today EPM on demand, which will allow you to bring the power of HANA in a cloud-based environment. Some of the customers may choose to continue to use on-premise because they really need confidentiality of the data, security, and they're very large. But they may have a department, they may want to do some cloud-based planning. Also, smaller companies may want to do this. And we showed a beautiful user experience on a mobile device, which allows you to do it either on-premise or in the cloud. And I think that's going to get a lot of good uptake from our customers. We're really pioneering those three big innovations at SAP: big data, mobile, and cloud.
You also had a ASUG member up there, Gabe Orthos from McKesson, a really interesting demo. I'm wondering about the customer feedback. You were up there talking about how much important. What types of things are you actually looking for when you come to an event like this? What do you want ASUG members to tell you? I mean, they can't give you a laundry list of their every little problem they're having, but what types of things do you want to hear and then you can act on?
I think we love to just have all of our customers engage with us. I mean, we look at this as an opportunity to get feedback, and we are a customer-centric innovation company. We look to get feedback, and often when you have 1,000 to 2,000 types of attendees, they are a proxy for the other 50,000. And we try to do these in various different locations. So in addition to these major events, we do world tours where we go into the city, to every various, maybe in London, maybe in Sydney, maybe in New York, wherever have you. And then we also have user groups that meet in smaller locations. So this isn't the only place, but it's an important place where that feedback comes in. The beautiful thing about Gabe is, he's a knowledgeable, articulate person. This guy actually had the stamina and the wherewithal to write a book about this thing, and he made an announcement. We're happy to plug his book here. But McKesson's a great company. They're pioneering what they do in patient and medical systems, medical health records. And he's driving a lot of innovation for his company at BI, and I'm glad that he also wrote a book. So when you get customers who are passionate about a topic and become a thought leader for themselves and perhaps even create a career and a fan club for themselves, we're happy to give them that platform here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the EPM on-demand product built natively on the HANA App Cloud is really no small accomplishment. I mean, this is a big deal. But one of the points in Bridget Chambers' keynote, she brought up, aren't you guys excited about HANA? You don't have enough information on HANA. And there didn't really seem to be that much excitement
in the audience. That was 8 in the morning, right? Nonetheless. Okay, keep going.
So this particular crowd, we've already covered that they're very heavy non-SAP backend users. How is this HANA story going to resonate with them?
I hope at the end of the keynote, an hour and a half later, I don't measure my value add by the applause, but I think people definitely got it. Listen, I think our perspective, certainly HANA revolutionizes a lot of things. I talked about the stack of components that you need often to put together an analytics solution in the traditional past that's way too expensive. And we can collapse a lot of those layers so that you don't have to buy 5 or 6 or 7 different vendors, flatten the data, recreate cubes, put it into predictive models. HANA has a basis for being able to do in real time everything from reporting to planning to predictive with beautiful user experience tools that we branded all now under business objects. So whether it was the reporting things that you saw on a mobile device, whether it was planning, which is what performance management EPM is, or the predictive capabilities, which you're going to hear about tomorrow, we think that this is going to revolutionize, and at the core of that engine is HANA. And I think HANA changes a lot of different things. I showed a demo of the way in which we're working with the NBA. If you think about the fan club audience of hundreds of millions of people who care about the NBA, powered in the cloud with the ability to do your fan analysis of your great players, your great teams, or even watch the referees. That requires a big database. That's different, and the beauty of what we're doing with HANA is it's completely different from traditional. We are revolutionizing the way in which a database is built, practically reinventing it to run in memory rather than traditional disk.
One thing that struck me in your presentation was the fact that when you were talking about Apple, the rise of the iPad and the tablets and iPhones and the usability of that you said something to the effect of, analytics might not be as big it is now because you've got these mobile, and the mobile is really taken off because of that. Can you talk just a little bit about that and how important, can you imagine 8 years ago saying how much Apple's development would have on what you guys are doing today?
I started my career at Apple, and those were the wilderness years of Steve Jobs. He wasn't there, but in the early 90s. But if you look at 2003 and 2004, and I paid tribute to him in my speech this morning, what Jobs did between 2003 and 2011 when he passed away was not just give us almost a decade worth of phenomenal innovation, put his company at the top of the biggest market cap in the world, but probably went down as the greatest CEO of all time. And we're very inspired by that. That's incredible, right? But the fact is, mobile is the new desktop. I've got 2-year-old twins, and it took them about 30 seconds to discover the gesture motion to browse their photographs. Okay? I thought to myself, when I put one of these boys, and they're 8 or 10 years in front of a computer, they're going to think the screen moves the same way the mobile does. And today, whether it's a phone or a tablet, the expectations of user experience is phenomenally different. Pinch, zoom, gesture-based motions. And when you can combine that with the ability to be able to look at stuff in analytical fashion, you get new ways that you could now offer to combine maps, to combine the ability to annotate, collaborate very, very quickly, and spread this information so that people make decisions that you could never do 10 years ago, or even 15 years ago as the web was starting to. So we think mobile changes everything. And certainly in the context of analytics, it produces a whole new paradigm for how people from the top floor to the shop floor can interact with data.
Great. Well, Sanjay, thank you very much for stopping by. It's great to have you again. We appreciate it.
Tom and Courtney, thank you very much, and I appreciate the time on your show.
For more interviews with SAP newsmakers, check out asugonline.com as well as our ASUG TV page on YouTube. And thank you very much for watching.